Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Good evening to all sa lahat ng napadaan sa channel ko. Magandang gabi po. Sorry naman at na-late itong ating live streaming. Supposedly kanina pang 6 p.m. to naka-schedule. So ayan, hindi ko alam paano ko pupunta ng YouTube sharing to StreamYard. Ayan, okay. So tingnan natin kung nakaano tayo sa YouTube. Ayan, naka-open pero issue na itatakal for tonight, and this issue is about why nurses, ang title ko, why nurses leave or leave home. Mas specifically, mga Filipino nurses, bakit ba? Bakit ba lumalabas ng bansa? Ayan. Yan po yung ating pag-uusapan, and meron tayong video panonood na na-feature sa CNA, why does Philippines top exporter of nurses, shortage ngayon dito sa ating bansa. Bakit yun? Kaya bakit ba yan ang nangyayari, no? So, saglit lang, hindi ko alam kung bakit hindi naka-live sa YouTube. Why does Filipino nurses leave? StreamYard is an example. Kaso hindi po siya, dapat ang gusto ko sana i-live to sa YouTube. Wait lang. Kasi pag in-stop ko, lalabas na naman ako. Ayan. Hopefully, naka-live to sa YouTube. Merong 1,000,000. 1,000,000 viewer. Ayan, 1,000,000 viewer. Pero wala pong walang nakalagay na walang nakaano no? So, meron tayong 2,000,000 viewers na po. Thank you for watching. Ayan. Yung topic ko talaga is pinanggigigilan kong i-discuss why nurses leave. I myself, matagal akong OFW. So, ngayon, napanood ko itong video na to sa CNA. And it really is so touching na bakit nga ba? It has been decade na nangyayari yung number one factor kung bakit lumalabas is dahil sa salary. So, dito sa video ko pinakita nila na supposedly the salary of nurses here in the Philippines now is grade 15. Ang meaning po ng grade 15, basic salary of an ordinary employee na hindi nurse is 500 something, 518 something yata, 585. So, may nakita pa ako isang na bakit nga ba ganun hindi kayang ibigay ng ating government yung salary na dapat especially right now na pandemic. Ayan. So, dito sa video to, papakita ko sa inyo kung bakit nga ba pero ilalagay na muna natin siya from the top. Ayan. So, panoorin po natin and ayan. Bakit nga ba, no? Pero, first and foremost, nawala na 1,000,000 kung manonood. Maraming salamat po sa lahat na napadaan sa channel ko. And if you're new to my channel, just click on the notification buttons and slash that bell for updated videos. Live stream, daily vlog, live stream sa gabi. If kaya ko. Pero pag may work ako, like 5 days, starting tomorrow, hindi ako makakapag-live stream. Mag-vlog ako, magre-record ako ng video, edit, then upload. Yun lang po. Kasi meron akong gagawin na about hand washing, how to use the face mask properly. Galing yun sa Communicable Disease Center. Ayan, CDC International. Nawala yung 2,000,000 kong viewer. Okay lang. Ayan, nawala sila. Kanina meron 2,000,000 viewer. Okay, so start na natin yung video, guys, para matapos na tayo. Kasi parang 45 minutes to and ayan, pakita ko sa inyo.
For over 50 years, the developed world looked to the Philippines to shore up a scarce resource.
Mas masakit ba ang chest pag binigay ito? Nasusuka
Nurses.
So finally, nakalagpas na kami sa immigration! Yay!
And for many Filipino nurses, working overseas is a lifeline, a chance at a better life.
In the US, it's at least 10 times of your salary in the Philippines.
But in April last year, the Philippine government imposed a deployment ban, grounding those dreams to a halt. Nurses could no longer take on overseas jobs.
Mas kailangan natin ang mga nurses dito sa ating bansa ngayon.
Yet a year after the ban, few have heeded the call to serve at home.
They would rather leave the profession because they're burnt out. Some of them have actually started exploring jobs in call centers. Kasi yun ang pinaka-limit natin, 15 minutes sa loob.
Undercover Asia enters the COVID-19 front lines to investigate if the government is doing enough to save those who are saving lives.
Siguro nasa 22 years old ako nun. 4 years ako sa Saudi, nagtrabaho as a nurse sa Abha City. Medyo mahirap first time ko malayo sa parents ko. First 2 months ko, sobrang na-homesick po ako. Parang ayoko pa umuwi dito ko, wala akong dadaan trabaho dito na. Kasi ganda ng trabaho ko sa Saudi.
But Charmaine had to return to Manila after the clinic she worked for in Saudi Arabia closed.
Dahil sa pandemic, nag-close yung clinic na pinagtatrabahuhan ko. So, kailangan ko umuwi. Kailangan ko mag-exit kasi nga hindi na nila nirenew yung residence visa ko.
My countrymen, good evening. The crisis is very, very clear. COVID-19.
So guys, stop ko saglit do. When it started, nag-start yung nung nag-start ang pandemic, March 2020, peak yun eh. So that time, most global lockdown yung nangyari. So lahat ng mga nurses na nasa ibang bansa na, they cannot go home for vacation. Ayan. So, ang nangyari, yung mga nagkaroon ng lockdown din sa mga aalis, ayaw nila magpalabas ng mga nurses kasi kailangan daw ng bansa. But the problem is, yun nga, hindi pa rin ma-regulate ng government ang salary scheme ng mga nurses na nandito, no? Ayan, ay i-discuss ko yan later on kasi ngayon nakikita ko na if you're locally employed, eto lang yung sahod mo yung salary range mo so you have to bear it. Wala kang anak dapat, wala kang pamilya, ikaw lang, sarili mo, kulang pa sa'yo. Yun, wala kang pinapaaral, ikaw lang talaga sa sarili mo, kulang pa. So walang makakabuhay sa salary ng mga nurses sa Pilipinas. And that's the truth. Yun, and that's the truth talaga. Okay, so tuloy lang po natin yung ating pinapanood. It's like, this runs for like 40
19 is spreading all throughout the country. Try to obey what government is suggesting or ordering you to do.
March 2020, the Philippines records its first local transmission of COVID-19. To contain the virus, 12 million residents of the nation's capital are placed on lockdown. The country goes into a state of public health emergency.
Meron lang tayong mga itinalaga na mga referral hospitals for severe cases of COVID-19. Inutusan na ho natin ang ating mga gobyernong ospital. Itira muna yung mga private rooms natin sa bawat ospital natin na gobyerno to serve as isolation rooms in preparation if we will be exceeding our original capacity and we will go into surge capacity.
Thank you so
Barely a month later, the government bans Filipino nurses from going abroad. So when Charmaine returned from Saudi Arabia, she found herself stuck in the country.
Umuwi ako ng Pilipinas ng July. Ang daming offer sa akin. Yun nga lang, hindi pa rin ako makakaalis ng Pilipinas. Pero dahil nga sa deployment ban for nurses, parang nawala lahat.
Charmaine isn't alone. The ban leaves thousands of nurses like her in limbo. Coined from the word prisoners, they've come to call themselves Priso nurses. Robbed of their livelihoods and careers, the nurses demanded answers from the government. The outcry forced the country's Labour Secretary to hold numerous public Zoom meetings with healthcare and migrant worker unions to explain its position. The country is short of a...
So, sabing ganon, ano daw yung magigain nila if they're going to ban the nurses from going out of their own countries, lalo na sa atin, kung hindi naman sila compensated. So, yung dinidiscuss dyan sa video is so napaka-broad kasi. But the main problem is hindi kayang ma-regulate ang salary scheme, which is supposed to be grade 15 na. Grade 15 means 34 to 35,000 per month. Hindi po ganun yun. It's just expectation versus reality. Kasi hindi po ganun. Sad to say na kaya patuloy na lumalabas ng bansa. Kasi kung ikaw, nurse ka, nasa bahay ka lang, mayroon kang asawa na he's the one providing for you and everything. I don't think kung 4 ang anak mo, kaya mo pa rin mabuhay, no? At the time na, even before 20 years back, ganun na yung sistema eh. So, hindi mo talaga kayang buhayin with that salary. Kulang talaga yon. So, that's why they're living continuously. So, nilockdown nila yung nag-lockdown din sila ng deployment from last year. Eh, nag-alsa yung mga di ba, yung mga nurses. So yan, tuloy natin yung video guys. Mahaba-haba pa to.
At least 23,000 healthcare workers.
We already have more than 150,000, and we cannot afford to be deploying our nurses abroad at the expense of losing the services of our nurses. And
overburdened and understaffed. The healthcare system is on the brink of collapse, warn medical workers in the Philippines.
The pandemic, yung consideration mo na may mga health workers na magpa-quarantine, magpa-positive, kulang ka na agad kasi ang quarantine ay 14 days. So, kailangan mong magdagdag talaga ng number of staff mo, kailangan triplehin.
The deployment ban dragged on for months.
Mas kailangan natin ang mga nurses dito sa ating bansa ngayon. Kaya to follow muna, ay medyo mag-tis-tis muna tayo. Baka pansamantala lang naman dito.
Sabi maghintay kami. Hinintay naman po namin we spent and we're about to lose our home, about to lose our livelihood.
Bakit hindi na kami pagbigyan?
Sobrang sakit po. Ang dami ng masakripisyo.
Ano ang plano mo? Meron ka bang savings habang hindi ka makatrabaho?
Why won't nurses take on jobs in the Philippines?
When we heard about the deployment ban, we were so shocked and angry about it that the group of us came together, researchers in Singapore and the Philippines, and decided that we needed to interview as many nurses as we could so we could document what they were going through. At ano naman yung balita sa agency mo? Sinabi ba nila kung kailan ka makakaalis at ano yung plano nila para sa'yo?
As a sociologist, Associate Professor Yasmin Ortiga has been studying nurses and migration for 10 years.
So ngayon na baka hindi ka nga matuloy sa UK, ano yung plano mo? In the meantime, babalik ka ba sa ospital?
Based on her interviews with Filipino nurses affected by the ban, she found it can take a nurse anywhere from 5 to 10 years before they can qualify for jobs overseas.
you have your nursing degree that you're invested in, and you had to pay a lot. It's one of the most expensive courses that you can ever major in the Philippines. And then they had to invest in doing the board exam. And then you actually need 2 years of work experience in order to qualify for overseas work. And this is where it becomes really expensive. And then they had to pay for, multiple exams, an English exam or a language exam if you want to go to Germany. And all those papers expire. So even if the ban is only temporary, if they expire, we're back to zero once again. So it's investments of time and money that kind of get wasted.
With so much already invested into her nursing career, today Charmaine is back at a job agency. Having been stuck in the Philippines for months, her previous overseas job offers have all been rescinded. Now she hopes to line up a new posting abroad in case the ban lifts.
Okay, so what have you been doing the past months?
Searching din po ng jobs. Some of the agencies, hindi po talaga sila tumatanggap ng application po for a while. Dahil nga po sa ban.
Agencies like this one are preparing for the day the deployment ban lifts. Global demand for Filipino nurses is on the rise.
Lahat pala ng mga clients namin are government hospitals. So, ang mga Western countries po na sinuserve namin are United States, United Kingdom, and Germany. Sa Germany naman, we have a client that pays 2,000 euros per month. Lumalabas, laging more than 100,000, mga 130 to 150,000 pesos per month yung sweldo dun sa UK. Together with the OTP, ang lalabas in the US, you can potentially earn around 200 to 400,000 pesos per month. No? So, wow, malaki siya. It's at least 10 times of your salary in the Philippines.
The library support.
Guys, nakita niyo yung sabi, yung sahod 10 times, ilan? Sabi gano'n, yung sahod is 10 times or 10 times mo yung sabi dun sa sahod niya. Kaya sino ba naman ang hindi maiengganyong lumabas, diba? Stop accepting, isa yung part na yan. So, open ang ibang countries, 10 times your salary daw. O, sino ba naman, diba 10 times? No wonder. Talagang, mainggan yung lumabas ng bansa. Ayan, so, magpo-pause muna tayo guys ha, kasi yung aking battery ay malolobat na, pero babalik ako for this live video. Ganun talaga, puputol siya. Okay, so, babalikan ko kayo and, ayan, charge lang natin for 5 minutes, then babalik ako, okay?